Check your phones, make sure they're on silent before you begin. That would be absolutely fabulous. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to our commemorative service. Welcome to those of you in person, welcome to those of you who are joining us through the live link. My name is Jill Reeve, and I'm one of the chaplains at the University of Chester, and I'm responsible for the Warrington campus. I've only been here for about 2.5 years, and so compared to many of you gathered here, I'm definitely very much going to be the newbie, I think. But I think we gather together with common purpose today, across the decades, and our common purpose is to mark this moment of change and the importance of this place, its physical geography and its beautiful gardens, the people we shared life with and learning with and worked with, the academic qualifications that we completed and the vocations that were started. And in this service, we have the opportunity to hear a few stories of people's experiences of this place across the decades,
and I'm sure it will bring back many memories for many of you. And hopefully for all of us, it's a time to reflect on the spirit of this place, the charism, what makes it unique and special. Because it is this spirit, this charism, that we want to take forward into the future, shaping our identity as we move to the University Centre Warrington in the town centre. Ralph Waldo Emerson, author and poet, said this: "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." And so as we mark the ending of a season and the beginning of a new one, I pray that we might be inspired to continue to live out the vision of transformational learning and education that has been at the heart of this campus for so many years. And so we open this service with a prayer. Let us pray. God of all, we thank you for this special place and for all those who have dedicated their time and talents to carrying forward its vision over the years. We thank you for the principals, lecturers, support staff, and professional services staff, past and present, who have contributed so much to the community's life and learning. We thank you for every student who has studied here over the years, and for our alumni community gathered here today. Be with all those who are now tasked to build the new vision for the University Centre Warrington in the town centre, and grant them strength, wisdom, and inspiration. Amen. And so I'm going to hand over now to Dr. Helen Galbraith, who is our Pro-Vice Chancellor, and she is going to welcome on behalf of the senior executive team.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Jill said, my name's Helen Galbraith. I'm the Pro-Vice Chancellor for Student Experience at the University of Chester. On behalf of the Vice-Chancellor and the senior team, a very warm welcome to this service of commemoration for the Padgate site of University Centre Warrington. It's an absolute pleasure to be catching up with guests, alumni, students and retired staff in person today, as well as welcoming those attending online. When the university first announced plans to continue its long relationship with the Warrington area, relocating to the centre of the town itself, all of us were still under lockdown conditions. University events, including open days and alumni reunions, had no clear date on which to resume. I'm pleased to say that you, and many of you as our former students connected to Warrington and Padgate, are the first in our alumni community to be able to officially reunite on a campus since the pandemic. Those who studied with us at our Chester sites will have their opportunity later this year, having not had an in-person reunion since 2019. Here in 2022, after the wonderful return to our in-person graduations at Chester Cathedral in the past few weeks, this commemorative service marks a further opportunity for us to come together. We are delighted to welcome those of you on site today and thank you for taking the time to celebrate what this location means to you. In particular, today is a chance for us to reflect upon and commemorate the impact and successes of those that have worked and studied here. Shortly, you will be hearing reflections from former students and retired staff, as well as those representing the student voice and the staff of today. They will share their rich experiences here across the decades and help us all to remember the many ways in which this site and what has been achieved here has shaped and influenced the lives of so many. Building on the strong foundations established here at Padgate, September 2022 will see us deliver our higher education in a more visible and accessible town centre presence. The university has worked closely with students and local businesses for their input on this exciting new development to ensure that we have created high-quality specialist spaces that our students will value and excel in. Based in the heart of Warrington, 4 miles away, our new Times Square and Remond House locations are only a few minutes' walk apart. The central location will allow students and staff easy access to public transport, as well as of a range of leisure and retail facilities on their doorstep. We are all really excited at this new phase of our presence in Warrington and the opportunities and positive experience it will offer to students. But for now, it's a time for us to reflect and remember, and most importantly, to celebrate. And I very much hope you enjoy the afternoon ahead as our Warrington story continues. Now, I'm going to proceed on behalf of my colleague Helena Asprey, who can't be with us today, to share a few alumni reflections with you. And in particular, from one of our fabulous alumni, Elsie Newton, from the Padgate class of 1956. Elsie's been a supporter of her alma mater and its alumni associations ever since completing her training 67 years ago. Elsie wrote and compiled the 2006 book, The Padgate Story. Elsie's unable to join us today, but sends her warmest wishes to all. And Elsie, if you are listening online, hello and welcome. And she also gave her blessing to this extract from the book, the section, In the Beginning, being read on her behalf. In the beginning. A former camp for Canadian servicemen at Fernhead, about 3 miles northeast of Warrington, was selected by Lancashire County Education Committee as a suitable site for an emergency training college. The site covered approximately 40 acres, contained a variety of buildings, and was situated on the main bus route from Warrington to Leigh. Padgate railway station was situated about midway between the site and the RAF camp at Padgate. It was intended as a college for about 360 male students, demobbed from the armed services and intending to enter the teaching profession. Known locally then and for many years afterwards as Canada Hall, the college opened its doors in 1946. The H-shaped blocks became mainly residential accommodation, and the collection of other buildings was transformed into administration, teaching, and catering areas. Rumour had it that at least one world-famous American star had entertained the Canadians in the very fine theatre on the site. The last group of ex-servicemen moved out in Easter 1949. In the same year, the Ministry of Education recognised the college as permanent, providing 2-year teacher training courses exclusively for women, and the college was a constituent member of the School of Education in the University of Manchester. Joyce Martin, BA, was appointed founder principal of Padgate Training College with a remit to establish precisely this. So on the 1st of June 1949, a group of 98 experienced teachers, women who, despite their teaching experience, were now required to gain a qualification to teach, walked through the gates for the first time. They were about to embark upon a special, short but intensive course of study aimed at enabling them to achieve qualified teacher status and to continue within the profession. It was a motley group of uncertificated serving teachers that formed the Experienced Teachers course. Among them were 3 grandmothers, some war widows, previously failed 2-year students, and several single women. At this time, each newly arriving student was paired up with a member of the previous course, her college mother. It was the college mother's job to help her daughter to feel welcome, to settle in and to find her way around the strange new world of college. She was usually in the same personal group as her daughter. Every student belonged to a personal group, and regular meetings were held with the personal tutor. It was decided that the college colours would be red and white on black. The shield-shaped badge featured a central flaming torch with a heraldic beast to either side. The red rose of Lancashire was placed either side of the flame. Below the shield, a streamer bore the words of the college motto, Sagax Semper Discit, generally translated by the non-Latin experts among us as, "The wise are always learning." Elsie says she will never forget when she caught the bus from Warrington out to Padgate for her interview. She thought the bus driver had dropped her off at the wrong place and wondered how she would find her way back. But she did find her feet and followed in the footsteps of a generation of Padgate women and later men who have educated children and young people all over the world and still do so today. Thank you so much to Elsie Newton for those lovely reflections. I'm now going to hand over to Stephen Broomhead, who's a member of the university's governing body and a formal principal here, for some of his reflections.
Well, good afternoon to you all, and first of all, thank you very much for being here to share memories. We really share memories between yourselves about your experiences here. I certainly enjoyed it. For me today, it's a day of really mixed emotions, as the university has made a decision to have new investment in different facilities in a different part of our town of Warrington. So I just want to offer a few memories. I wasn't here that long actually as a college principal. I was only here for 4 years. But I was certainly very, very aware of its rich history, which has just been Helen has just described. And Elsie, if you're listening, the Padgate story book and the work of the old Padgate Old Students Association was wonderful when it was here, because the memories and the history and legacy and heritage actually matters. So the college, as you say, was founded in 1946. 1960 it became a college of education and was offering a programme of teacher education for male and female for a number of years. And then in 1972, I remember that Mrs. Thatcher, who was the director, she was the Minister for Education at the time, they produced a paper called A Framework for Expansion. But for this place, there was only one sentence that mattered: some colleges may have to close. At that point, the college then decided to move away from just being teacher training and was looking to diversify in terms of the learning opportunities that were offered here. And that then led to a merger a little later on with the college here, with the Art College on Museum Street in town, and then also with the Technical College, the FE College on Winnick Road. And that was then named North Cheshire College. Some of you will be here when probably that birth took place. And then, a little later, it was retitled Warrington Collegiate Institute. That was a new name that was given to it. And when I arrived here in 1994, that's the place that I was told to be in charge of. So I had the responsibility for here, which was higher education, further education on Winnick Road, and the Art College in Museum Street. People probably forget that in 1996 there was quite an interesting philosophic debate about the use of the word university. And we managed, with some influence on David Blunkett, who was the Secretary of State for Education, to manage to get the title University College Warrington, because the politicians in this town were always telling me we thought a town of this size, particularly with its economy, deserved a university presence and a university title. And we're the only place in the UK that got that title. And we had to defend the jealousy and all the other issues from other vice-chancellors of universities and wanted to know the secret of how we'd done it. The secret was quite simple. We knew David Blunkett. And we couldn't tell them that. So here, from the mid-90s onwards, there are a whole series of degrees which were validated and accredited by the University of Manchester. The degrees in performing arts, business management, sports management, journalism, media, whole raft of activity, including A-levels here and early programs for the police. And we had excellent relationships then with the University of Manchester, and the Vice-Chancellor then was a guy called Sir Martin Harris. He really celebrated the fact that they have got a presence in Warrington at the University of Manchester. And then things changed when the University of Chester took over, and I'll come on that in a moment. MAs started here in 1996. We got the University of Manchester to accredit higher education degrees, master's degrees. And we had an event in the Buckley Suite, just at the back here, where those of you who are academics, Professor Laurie Taylor, who's written a wonderful column on the back of the Times Higher Education Supplement for many years, turned up here, and it was an absolutely raucous evening when he brought some of the characters from his column he's been writing for probably 35 years, Dr. Pearson and all those characters who are here. So I arrived here, as I said, in 1994. I was principal of the college in Durham. I followed some really wonderful and inspirational college principals, of which a couple have already been mentioned. Joyce Martin, who was the founder principal, Lance Dobson, Bill Buckley, the infamous Terry Keane. I'll come back to him in a moment, those of you around at the time. And then even more infamous, Douglas Pride. And when I left, Hilary Tucker, who's with me today, took over from myself. So at the point I left, and when Hilary left as well, the college was then split into different parts. The University of Chester took over the stewardship and custodianship of the college, and the Further Education College and the Art College went off on their own together. Throughout all of this time, the place was actually under the stewardship of Cheshire County Council. And of course, in 1992, a piece of legislation went through. It meant that colleges were leaving the democratic elements of councils, and they were incorporated. The said infamous Terry Keane celebrated the fact of those so-called freedoms by offering everybody a free car. If you remember a bus staff, you were entitled to a free car. So I often came into the place with these memories saying, how could this be? This was a fantasist offering a fiesta. That's what people were saying. So just a few reflections on some of the things I remember here. You're all from different generations at the university. You have your own memories. But, I mean, the place has been forged relationship. There's been marriages here. There's been divorces. So many things have happened in this place, formally and informally. And it's really good that we're all gathered together here today to remember them. I lived, when I first came here, on College Close at the bottom here. I lived there for a short period of time. I remember the students raiding my wheelie bin and dustbin and then writing articles in the Student Union magazine about what I was eating and drinking. Of course, being the college principal, I was on a bottle of whiskey a night, wasn't I? And then I also remember at Christmas one time, 300 students arrived back from the Hacienda Club, for those who remember these things, Hacienda Club in Manchester, to sing me a Christmas carol at 4 in the morning. And I went to the door of the house and I said, if none of you, I can't swear because it's a church thing, if none of you go away, none of you will graduate. But that was the sort of place it was. It was vibrant, it was bouncing, it was buzzing. I thought it was like going on an 1825 holiday, to be frank. You know. We also had very close to College Close a chapel. And one of the things I did with the senior staff here, we restored the chapel, which then became the practice area for the Warrington Male Voice Choir. We also had a radio station here. The Media Studies had the radio station in the famous Giraffe House. Now, I'm probably going to have a word with Historic England because I want that listing before whatever to do with this campus. That place has got to remain. The Giraffe House. It's in the psyche of anybody who's ever been here. We tried different things to try and raise money here to get different income. We had in 1996, we had a Thai boxing competition in the sports hall just down there. When we thought we'd planned out everything, except anything we've forgotten is to put the stalls in the corners for the contestants to sit down at the end of the round. Valentine's Day here was absolutely wonderful. It was like a flower shop. The reception you've just been stood in there was just like a flower shop on Valentine's Day. Wednesday evenings were exciting times here. I used to come in on the Thursday morning and say to the site manager, damage report, because it was that exciting here. Because Wednesday afternoons were sports afternoons, and Wednesday evening was fun time. There was even, allegedly, I don't know, I'd moved off the campus at this point, naked runs around the campus here. So if any of you recognise each other, you're all looking very different than you were at that time. And we had to have a debate as a senior management team about having CCTV put in. And we had this ethical debate, would it be the right thing to have naked bodies, to look at naked bodies? So it was very, very exciting. We had a really successful set of sports teams here. Bill Bezick, who's here, will know all about that. And we organised, particularly in Rugby League, which I've had a long association with Warrington Wolves. I always remember the winning team we sent once to play Sunderland University, where I also used to be a governor. And on the way back, they decided they called it a pub and a restaurant, and I'd arranged a meal. and basically collected every piece of antiques in the place to steal it for fun. When they got back here, I had a phone call from the landlord of the pub and restaurant to say he'd lost all of his antiques. I had to send for the captain, another one who might not have graduated unless they all went back. So things are different. But the most favourite thing I do recall, we had the Rugby League World Cup here for youth in 1996, and we were the host for every team around the globe. And Samoa and Japan were staying here, along with Australia. And I always recall the whole set of people have gone off one night. The young people have gone down to Mr. Smith's in town. Those of you remember Mr. Smith's in Warrington. And there had been a bit of an altercation in Mr. Smith's, which turned into another big altercation when they came back here. And the coach of Samoa decided the captain of Samoa would have to come and apologise to me as a college principal for their behaviour. And I remember coming in the office, I'm absolutely frightened because he put a shadow on my desk. It was just enormous, as I had to give this guy a ticking off, really. So, the place has also been the place centre for police training, a lot of work for Company Plus, which provided support for business and management. We also, at one point, tried to organise a music festival where, believe it or not, James Brown, You Feel Good, was supposed to be coming here, but that didn't quite make it. So it's really good to be here. Some of the buildings are named after us. I've got Hilary Tucker, who's with me today. Hilary was the principal when I finished. Has the Tucker building named at the back. So for some reason, the powers that be named the library after me. I thought you only got buildings named after you when you died, but I'm still in front of you today. And I'm still got to negotiate with the university governing body about the fines I'm going to get from late books, but I'll work on that. This place is a place of characters, and I wrote this before I knew we'd be here today. So one of the characters was Bill Bazik, and Bill was here today. Bill was the vice principal when I came, and Bill became an eminent sports psychologist, best-selling author, worked on sports psychology for England, Manchester United. And we often got different sport teams here. We got Carlisle United in their heyday who came here. And I remember that really well, Bill. So I'm really pleased you're here today. Another memorable character is a former chair of governors called Colin Daniels, who only died 2 years ago. And we used to get on quite well, Colin and I. Everybody was absolutely frightened to death of him. We used to have this joke. He'd open the post, read it, and then give it to me, because he was a very controlling individual. But he wasn't like that at all. He was actually very, very committed to inclusive learning, particularly working with kids with special educational needs. But of course, the real characters here were some of the staff and some of the students. They were the real characters. So for me today, it is really about mixed emotions. There's tremendous history with this place, as the university has made the decision to make an investment in the town centre. I just wish it could have been different. I do think, and I have to say this, I'm a very, very honest person. If the university had put a bit more effort and focus into building this campus, it would have been wonderful, and you could have built on what you've got in front of you to look around today. So, hope you found those comments of value. I've just played a very small part in the life of this place, but please enjoy your day. Thanks.
This is scary. Hello, everyone. So my name is Sam. I'm the current Vice President at the Chester Students' Union of Warrington campus, and I graduated in 2020. Well, I had my graduation last week, 2-year way, and it was well worth it. It's very good. I'm just going to tell you a bit about what my experience was like. So I came to the campus in September 2017, so not long ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I can't do maths. You could do the maths. Yeah, so I'm from Wolverhampton originally, and I had this long discussion with my mum and dad, and they were like, you've got to move away. You've got to move away. You don't get the experience. You've got to live on accommodation. You've got to live away. And I was petrified. So I made the decision to come to the University of Chester at the Warrington campus. I came for the open day. Everyone was so friendly. So I was like, right, I need to come here. I need to study my degree here. I did sports and coaching development. So yeah, moving in day, September 2017, absolutely petrified. I was also quite hungover because it was my uncle's wedding the night before. So I started off, start as you mean to go on, that's the quote. And yeah, so I came and I moved into accommodation. I lived in Aiken Hall. It's now where the chaplaincy is. It's not accommodation anymore, but it was when I started. And like I said, I was petrified. I was mixed with second and third year students. So as a first year student, moving in with second and third years, they already know what's going on. I had no idea. So I was nervous, completely nervous, but I went to the kitchen. Everyone was sat there. They went, come and sit down. I went, okay. So I sat down with them, big chat. They just said, you'll be fine, stick with us. And look at me now, I'm still here 5 years on. Yeah, I think this campus is like, because it's so small, you know more people. I know it's a strange thing to say, but when it's a smaller space, there's less people, you tend to get to know more people. And, you know, I've had a lot of memories here. I decided to play rugby. Never played rugby before. In fact, I've just came from a game because they're playing sports now. So I finished at 12 o'clock, got straight here, got ready to come here. And yeah, we went to social night, which is still on Wednesdays. Sports day still on Wednesday. We went to the social night, my first social. They gave me the name Chicken. Why did they call me Chicken? Because apparently I look like Chicken Little. But no, it's weird because I've been here for 5 years and all the first year students, they don't even know my actual name. They just call me Chicken. So it's quite good to have. But yeah, I've had the best 5 years here. Like I said, I've been working here for 2 years now. Things I've achieved. I mean, I've helped organise this with a fair few other people. It's been stressful, but I'm glad it's here. Also, all the sports teams are back playing today. They're playing at the other side of the campus. We made sure they were that side so they wouldn't make too much noise, so we could, nice and quiet here. I've also done a mental health wellbeing survey, which is now going to run yearly. Students' mental health is really important, and coming out of a pandemic, it can be really difficult to, socialise again. And that's running yearly now, so I'm really proud of that. I've also helped students transition to the new site. Like I said, it was a shock to me when I found out that we were moving. And my first priority was to make sure that the current students were happy and they were content with what was going on. So I've helped students throughout the past year. There's been a lot of questions about it, and I've made sure that they're all happy with it. So yeah, that's some of the things I've achieved in the 2 years I've been in at VP Warrington. And now this is strange. So I did coaching and sports and development, but now I'm thinking of moving to South Wales to do an apprenticeship in refinery. So it's crazy how you use your degree, isn't it? But yeah, thank you very much for listening. I'll now hand you over to our Deputy Provost, Brendan. Thank you so
much. Hello everyone, good afternoon. Thanks Sam. I'm Dr. Brendan O'Sullivan, and it is lovely to be here to share in this alumni event with you all. The site, as Steve has said, is always fondly remembered by our staff and graduates, and we've been genuinely overwhelmed by the enthusiasm to attend today, so you are all very welcome, of course. I've been asked to reflect as a current member of staff on my time working here and being part of that Padgate story over the years. And my role now as Deputy Provost gives me responsibility for the staff and student experience here at Warrington. And soon this responsibility will transfer to our new locations in the town centre, but there's so much that I'll take with me from what I've learned here and experienced here. I've had, despite my youthful exterior, a 24-year association with this site, coming from industry originally to start my higher education career as a lecturer in TV production, using some of those facilities that Steve mentioned earlier. And from there, I've been able to progress. As the institution has progressed, as it gained degree awarding powers and university status, I was able to develop my trajectory, first of head of department, then dean of faculty, and now as deputy provost of the University Centre Warrington. So as the university grew, so a number of us in this room, certainly, I recognise, were also fortunate enough to do so alongside the growth and change in the university. This has enabled me to work at many levels within the university and work with a wide range of colleagues. And though I have spent over 10 years at some of our Chester sites, I've certainly witnessed the distinctive sense of pride which reflects our staff and students' relationship with this campus and with Warrington. And yet, of course, nothing stands still. Many of us have lived through a great number of changes on the campus. Our portfolio of programmes, for example, has changed significantly. Where once we were driven by media, business, sports, performing arts programmes, we're now flourishing in the areas of public and community-facing services, such as health and social care, policing, education and social work. So over the years then, I've seen not only what we teach, but how we teach, accelerated by COVID-19, and most importantly, how our students learn change. And of course, there's a period of adjustment. We don't always get it right, and we don't always get it right first time, especially with the implications of a global pandemic challenging our ways of living, working, and particularly engaging with others. But what we here have always tried to do, to my mind, is to put the students, indeed put each other first. And that doesn't always mean doing what people want, but it does mean always striving to do what we genuinely consider to be the best that we can for each other. From the days when approaching half our students here were resident on site, to today where the vast majority of students commute, the way people interact with this site, the daily rhythms of the campus have changed. The pressures on students have become ever more acute, I think, and the professions they're now entering have become ever more challenging and demanding. And as we return to new models of teaching and learning, more classes delivered online, virtual reality simulations becoming an everyday part of our work rather than a futuristic fantasy, and a renewed and increased focus on work-based learning, work placement, the campus itself can feel very different. However, the professional and supportive relationship between staff and students remains crucial, perhaps even more important than ever. So over the years, the site grew into a village with all the amenities you could need and sometimes all the gossip that you didn't. And I'm sure Steve can tell us a little more about that, as can Hilary, through the course of the day. But that's what makes a community, that sense of belonging, that sense of ownership. And as our new Dean of Learning and Teaching has described, a recognition not only that you belong, but also that you matter. And this shifts the emphasis a little from that internal feeling that you've got a place where you can be yourself, to knowing you've got a place and that you're important, needed, valued and respected. And this emphasis encompasses others as much as it does the self. And I certainly hope, believe, that many staff and students who've passed through these doors here have felt needed, valued and respected by colleagues and by their students. So what will I take from my time here today? I'll make it my duty to ensure that we have as much pride in our new home as we have had here in Padgate. That the supportive professional relationships we have with our students is maintained. That sense of community that existed very strongly here relocates with us to the town centre. And that this professionalism, community feel and pride in who we are and what we do contributes to the life of the town and the wider communities within which we are situated in a more tangible and more impactful way than ever. It was once said that as a university we should do well through doing good, and conversely that we can do good through doing well. And our roles in this here are many and varied, but foremost for me, working in education is about making a difference and being kind. And I think this is what I'll take from my time at Padgate, and what we've always tried to do here, and what I'd like us to be known for in the town centre, is to offer a particular kindness alongside a genuine desire to make a difference.
I talked at the beginning about the spirit of the place, and I feel I have really heard the spirit of the place through the stories that we've heard, through Elsie's reflections on those early days, through Stephen's amazing stories that I could sort of visualize as he was telling, through Sam's experience as a sort of student more recently, Brendan's, as he connects this site into the vision going forward, the spirit of the place that will live on with us. And I think, endings are always hard, aren't they? And it's so important that we come together to mark what is sort of a sad ending, and yet at the same time an exciting beginning. I was wondering how we would end the service, and perhaps, Stephen, you talking about the characters, perhaps I've chosen well in deciding to just read you a very short excerpt from The Hobbit, when Bilbo says his farewells to the dwarfs, which maybe are those characters. So Bilbo bids his farewells. At last, the time came for him to say goodbye to his friends. Farewell, Balin, he said, and farewell, Dwalin, and farewell, Dorry, Norry, Orry, Oin, Gloin, Bifur, Burfur, and Bummer. May your beards never grow thin. And turning to the mountain, he added, farewell, Thorin Oakenshield, and Filly and Killy. May your memory never fade. Then the dwarfs bowed low before the gate, but the words stuck in their throats. Goodbye and good luck, wherever you fare, said Balin at last. If you ever visit again, when our halls are made fair once more, then the feast shall indeed be splendid. If you are ever passing my way, said Bilbo, don't wait to knock. Tea is at 4, but any of you are welcome any time. And I hope that captures some of the sense of the community that carries on, that actually people are welcome anytime, and that actually you are part of the story going forward. And we are all part of the story as we go ahead into the new site and the new era. And I finish just with a Celtic blessing called the Path. God bless the path on which you go. God bless the earth beneath your feet. God bless your destination. God be a smooth way before you, a guiding star above you, a keen eye behind you, this day, this night, and forever. God be with you at each crossroads and each river, at each lying down and each rising up, in the troughs of the waves, in the crest of the billows, each step of the journey that you take. Amen. And so now we have time to move on to some things for this afternoon. And we're going to now move to sort of a time of refreshments. I'm told that there's fizz and cupcakes waiting for us outside. That's got to be good. Sounds like it's a tradition, Stephen, that we need to continue in. So do enjoy that. And then at 3 o'clock, there's a variety of things for you to enjoy. There is the site to wander around and look at. Some of the buildings will be open, so do wander in, refresh your memory of things from the past. In the media centre, there's the shared memories. So this is the launch of the Padgate Story Archive. I'd really encourage you to go there. There's a slideshow, and there's opportunities for you to capture your own stories as part of that archive. And there will also be sports on, the sports around, including football, netball, I'm told, and a variety of others. So do feel welcome to make your way to those things as part of it, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.